Welcome to the channel, everybody. So today we are going to continue on with the Paragon series, looking at Act 7.1.3. Now this one has, of the path nodes that I chose, some very easy ones to get around. The easiest one of all is gloves off. As long as you don't bring in a tech champion, you don't even have to worry about that particular node. We did go ahead and go with Colossus as our main focus, but it ended up being Apocalypse who did a lot of the work. But we'll talk about that as we go along. So as you can see here, the path nodes are Crumbling Armor. If you have not landed a hit within 6 seconds, you will receive an armor break debuff. Landing hits resets the timer and removes the debuffs. So keep that in mind. There is also heal blocks, so you're not going to be able to heal up your champions during the fight. And also kinetic transfers. So blocked hits causes them to gain power. So that is something to keep in mind as well. Outside of that, a lot of this is a fairly straightforward fight all the way up until the boss. Now on this path, you'll be facing the original Black Widow, Cyclops Red, Spider-Gwen, Rogue, Daredevil OG, and then Hit Monkey. And then finally, we'll go over to the boss node. For this particular path, we went ahead and chose the boss of Hulkbuster here. Now, Hulkbuster has a few different nodes on him. First one being Hit Me If You Dare. With this one, every 10 hits, every hit that you land, you'll give him a charge. Every 10 charges, he gets a 50% armor up for 10 seconds. So do be aware of that. Every 11th time you hit him, he's going to be more powerful for a little while. Next, he has Spiked Armor, which increases his armor against crit rating. Also, Shocking Brilliant. Landing a shock guarantees a crit. And lastly, Dulled, which crit chances are reduced by 50% for each buff that you have upon you or each debuff that he has upon him. So your crit rating is going to drop real quickly in this fight, especially if you have a champion that relies heavily on buffs and debuffs. But again, these are still straightforward, easy enough fights. You'll see how I got through it here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So first off, right off the bat here, we had the Black Widow fight. We brought Colossus in for it. This one is a little bit longer of a fight. We were figuring that if we were going to be taking so many armor up, we were figuring if we were going to be taking so many armor break debuffs that having a champion with armor up would actually counterbalance that, which is a solid theory. It is one of those things that every time you get an armor break, it does remove one of your armor ups. But at the same time, if you've got a champion like Colossus that builds them up so quickly, that's not a problem because you're just going to be countering the stack balance on that. But it is still a longer of a fight when you're trying to do it this way. Now, we do get Black Widow down here with Colossus. It's just going to cut us right to the edge when we do. Obviously, the Storm Relic has played a factor in there for us. It did help us get her off her balance a couple times. Even though we let her take us right straight to the edge. Now, obviously, going into the Daredevil fight here, the Cyclops Xavier School fight here. Sorry, guys. We went ahead and took Apocalypse in, partially to go ahead and get some of those genetic charges up instantly. And to be truthful with you, what we probably should have done is just went ahead and let him have both the first two fights, because then we would have had him at full genetic charges by the time we got to the third fight here. Now, Apocalypse does make a little shorter of work on Cyclops here than what Colossus did, going up against Black Widow there, but at the same time still took fairly significant as far as the same amount of damage. We did heal up Colossus for the Spider-Gwen fight. Again, this is another chance that we could have just turned around and brought in Apocalypse one more time and got his final charge there, but we chose not to. because the idea of the whole path was that it was going to be focused around Colossus, which is why we have Juggernaut and Wolverine on the team. They are literally there just for the synergies to help out and make Colossus a little better. But even with that being said, there were a few times that he just wasn't pulling off what I was looking for. So I just kind of reverted back to Apocalypse a few different times. And that really worked out fairly decently for us, to be honest with you. We get through most of the path in a significantly little amount of time. Now, as you can see here, we're trying to go ahead and bait her in there so we can parry heavy a few times, get some of the bleeds on there, get built up to that SP1, ideally up to the SP2, but more often than not, we end up settling for the SP1 before we go ahead and finish her off. Now, coming in against Rogue was another chance to get our charges, and obviously we were already at 3, so it was an instant 4 right off the bat. So he's actually in here at peak performance. But this also gives us a chance that if we decide to horseman somebody before the end, we do have that. Now, Rogue is one of those ones that you got to be careful with, because as much so as she's not bad to fight against, and her SP3 can do some damage, but honestly, as you saw there, we were able to survive it just fine. The bigger thing is watching out for that SP1 and SP2 and making sure that you're getting away from her, because off the SP1 she can steal your health, and off the SP2 she can steal your power. So I mean, you could turn around and feed her up while hurting yourself if you don't avoid it properly, as you saw that we did right there at the end. So we ended up reviving Apocalypse and coming in here again and doing it with him at full strength and pretty much nearly healthy. We did a lot more of the heavy dance with her on this one, at least in the beginning of the fight, because it was working out for us. And then she got a little aggressive, and that changed things. So we do have Magneto on the team here, and of course Stark Spidey is metal, so this does give us a bit of an opportunity here. Magneto is not only on the team for Stark Spidey, but also knowing that he is a great counter there for the Hulkbuster at the end. So we went ahead and horsemaned him so that he could have his full potential here against Stark Spidey, and turn around and have that when we needed him for that Hulkbuster fight at the end. Now, Stark Spidey here again. I will tell you this much. One of the things that I've realized during this series is that I have not always been playing Magneto properly, but you'll start to see a difference in how I play him going forward. Kind of really caught on to a couple things last night. I have the basic concept, but the order of which to achieve that, I've been kind of putting too much emphasis on, and there is, in my opinion, a better way to do that. But again, I'm going to address that a bit more in future videos. Obviously, bringing Apocalypse in here against Hitmonkey was a great opportunity here. By the time we got in here, we've got class advantage. Apocalypse is doing great for us. Able to use that relic to go ahead and bring Storm out to kind of get him out of balance here. It's going to be right down to the wire here, and yet we still turn around and pull it off. Now, the Hulkbuster fight, again, if I would have realized what I realized right now with Magneto, which is that instead of worrying about getting the Prowess charges up first, I should worry about getting closer to the SP3 before I worry about the Prowess charges, because then I don't have to spend the time trying to keep them maintained while I work up to the SP3. If I'm already at the SP3, the second I hit 30 to 40 Prowess charges, instantly pop that, and you're going to watch them go down. This was the mistake that I've been playing with Magneto for a while. I spent far too much time. As you can see, we're up to the 34 Prowess charges right now, but we've got to get all the way up to the special 3 here before we can truly take advantage of them. And yes, we were able to do that right there, but we were spending so much time trying to keep them maintained that we ended up taking a beating ourselves just trying to get up to that. Not to mention, on top of that, you look at the amount that came off on that bleed right there. Um, if we're already wounded severely, then we're now playing duck and dive to try and keep ourselves alive long enough for the bleed to do its full effect. We do get pretty close to finishing off Hulkbuster here with Magneto, but he does catch us right there at the end. Again, we're still not playing him at the proper way. You'll see that a little bit of difference in that coming up in a couple of the future videos here. But so since we had Jugs alive and on the team anyways, let's go ahead and bring him in, see if we can't take another chunk off of Hulkbuster here, which you can see we are able to do, but because of that physical resistance, we're just not able to do enough damage to really get the flow going there. Obviously, we weren't building up our unstoppables nearly enough on that either, but that gave us an opportunity to go ahead and heal up Magneto here and come back in and get back to the original plan. Obviously, again, here was not building up either thing in the right way, so we did have to go ahead and come back in one last time because we did take the SP3 there. Now, finally, we're in here. We're kind of playing it a little bit smarter, but it's still not quite where we should be. It is in one of these future levels that I really see where my mistake was, and I start changing that. As you can see there, then we go ahead, and that's all she wrote with the SP3 against Hulkbuster, and we're able to finish that out. That opens us up to be able to go on to 7.1.4, gives us a few more tier 2 alpha shards there, and puts us one step closer to finally reaching that Paragon title. Obviously, getting through Act 7 is only part of what it takes. You also have to keep in mind as well that you also have to have the rank for 6-star champions as well. But obviously, we already have that on the account, so we will be Paragon before the end of the month. We'll have this one out today, obviously, and we'll be shooting for getting the next video out in the Cavalier series tomorrow. We'll be continuing on and having our live stream on Sunday night, crystal opening on Monday, and I will see you guys back for both of those. I hope you guys are doing great, and I hope this helps you progress a little bit farther. See you on the next one. Peace out.